All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our session today, How Amazon Powers Customer-Obsessed Service with Amazon Connect. My name's Lauren Dickerson. I'm a member of the worldwide go-to-market team for Amazon Connect. I've actually been with Amazon for a little over 8 years now, which is a long time in Amazon years. I started my career at Amazon inside of Amazon customer service, actually, where I managed a number of different operations and training teams before transitioning over to Amazon Connect, where my first job with the Amazon Connect go-to-market team was helping to scale the Amazon.com story, right, to customers like you, to help us answer questions for customers because we get them all the time, like, what is Amazon doing about fill in the blank, right? A common one lately has been, what's Amazon thinking about generative AI, right? How's Amazon thinking about transforming their own contact center? So the goal of today is to really double click on all of those areas, and we're gonna bring up the experts in the field. So John Chow and Jeff Christensen are gonna join in a little bit, and they're leaders inside of our Amazon customer service technology organization that are really gonna help us answer a lot of those questions so that you understand Amazon's perspective on changes, technology, and organizational growth, all while staying innovative, right, inside of customer service. So today's session, as you all know, you got your headsets on, is a silent session. So what that means for you guys is that not only do you get the cool new jewelry, you also can't ask us questions. We can't accept questions during the session, but John, Jeff, and I are gonna stick around after the session. So feel free to come up and ask us questions. Anything that didn't get answered during the session, just let us know. At the very end of the session, we're also gonna have a slide up with QR codes that link directly to our LinkedIn profiles. So please connect with us. If you think of a question a week from now, you can ask it there. So our agenda for the next little bit of time that we get to be together. I'm gonna kick us off talking about our mission, Amazon background, and a little bit about shifting customer preferences, just things that we're noticing. Then I'm gonna hand it over to the stars of the show, Jeff and John, who are going to talk about Amazon customer service, what those experiences look like, and how they're using technology to transform their organization. We're then all going to come up on stage and do a fireside chat where hopefully I'm going to be able to ask a lot of the questions that are top of mind for you guys and let Jeff and John really talk to us about how they're thinking about a lot of those things and dive a little deeper. Then we're going to round it out by talking about partnerships with customers and the innovation loop. So I always like to start these conversations and these presentations with Amazon's mission, right? Our mission is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And there are two things that I want to call out in regard to this. First, it's intentionally kept really broad, right? So this doesn't say to be Earth's most customer-centric bookseller or Earth's most customer-centric cloud contact center provider, right? It's really talking about how we are customer-centric in everything we do, whether it's the businesses we're supporting now or what Amazon may be doing a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, right? So although the business, the things we're doing might change, customer centricity is never gonna change. Our mission's gonna stay the same. That leads us to the second thing, is that there's a lot of specificity around what it is we do, right? So the team I support sells cloud contact centers. My job is to be customer-centric, right? So I think along those two dimensions is really helpful, helps to frame up the rest of the conversation. And I think we'll probably call back to this mission throughout the session today. From the beginning, Amazon really had 3 key ideas that have stuck with us for over 20 years. Put the customer first, invent, and be patient. So we're going to talk a lot in this session about customer service or customer experience at scale. What does scale mean to Amazon.com? So we've got some metrics up here that help describe and define that. There are over 1 billion packages delivered from same-day sites in the United States. There are 22 countries with Amazon stores, and we offer 24/7 customer service support. So a lot of what we're talking about here, and a lot of these data points, are really talking about global scale of Amazon, right? But there's another dimension here too, which is the breadth of businesses that Amazon.com includes and that customer service supports, right? So you guys are probably all thinking about when you need to, if you need to contact in to Amazon customer service, there's probably some things that come to mind, right? Maybe you need to let them know that a package is lost somewhere in transit. Maybe you received something that was defective and you just want a replacement and you want to do it quickly. But we also support other customer questions like, I need to troubleshoot my Kindle, or I need help navigating the Prime website, or need help trying to pick a movie to watch tonight, or download speeds are down, right? So all of those questions come into Amazon customer service. So when we talk about scale, it's not only global scale and geographic scale, but also the depth of the businesses that we're supporting. So now, what do we know about customers, right? We say we're customer-centric. What does that mean? We've got to be kind of following and aware of the trends and what our customers are demanding of us inside of customer service. So what we're looking at here is actually data from Gartner, right? And this data is talking about Gen Z and millennials specifically. And what this kind of boils down to and what they're saying is that Gen Z and millennials prefer to get customer service or customer support from self-help or self-service. So much so that if they can't find an answer through self-help or self-service, they might just stop looking altogether, right? So in order to avoid this kind of negative brand perception and maybe even customer churn, we have to offer really great self-help, automated self-service options for our customers. But we also really have to balance this with knowing that not all of our Amazon.com customers fit neatly in the box of millennial or Gen Z, right? So not only do we need to provide options for these customers, we also need to provide best-in-class human support for customers who prefer to get their support that way, or for any customer with a really meaty, gnarly concern that we need a human in the loop to help solve for. So trying to balance both of those to support all of our global customer base. So before I hand this over to John and Jeff, I want to talk about how Amazon makes this happen and tie the philosophy and the mission to the technology. So like most companies, Amazon customer service relied on a technology vendor to support its operation from the time that it started. Now in 2007, that team went out to RFP to determine, are there maybe other vendors out there in the market? Is it time for us to make a change? What they found when they got the responses back is that none of those vendors were going to meet 100% of the needs. So being a culture of builders and customer-obsessed employees, that team decided just to build their own technology, right? They knew they could build it and they could get exactly what they wanted, not only for right now, but to help them scale and grow. So later in 2007, that same team launched that solution, which enabled Amazon to expand to new geographies and into new businesses, right? So then in 2017, in response to AWS customer request, Amazon Connect was launched as the commercially available version of what Amazon.com had been using for years. The goal here was really to create an intuitive system that allows associates to focus entirely on the customer, but also allow supervisors and administrators an easy way to make changes inside of the contact center and manage their operations. So now I'm going to hand it over to John from Amazon Customer Service. He's going to talk to us a little bit more about the customer experience.
Thank you, Lauren. It's not every day that we get to spend time with so many of our peers in customer service. So it's great seeing all of you today and also everyone else on stream. So thank you for coming. My name is John Chow, and I lead product science and technology for Amazon Customer Service. So what do? we primarily focus on three things. First, we focus on the customer. So we build amazing, delightful, convenient experiences for customers, primarily through self-service, so they can resolve issues on their own without contacting associate. Next, we build associate tools. So imagine contact handling tools. Many of you may have CRMs, training tools, coaching tools. So we try to train, coach, and develop our associates so they can spend time with the customer in order to resolve their issues. And lastly, which we'll talk about more in this session, is we build the infrastructure on top of AWS and Connect. Now, when you think of customer service, many of you may think what first comes to mind is a customer picking up the phone and calling a number with an associate on the other side. That's what people typically think of customer service. At Amazon, we have a peculiar way of thinking that changes that notion quite a bit. First, we seek to offer a defect-free experience. When we do experience a defect, we offer delightful and convenient resolutions for customers, generally through self-service. Then, if that doesn't work, then we connect in one of our associates to resolve their issues. Let's go into more detail. For defect elimination, the best customer experience is one where customers don't really need to contact you in the first place, right? So we prioritize the elimination of customer-facing defects by using two things. One is customer anecdotes, so what customers tell us, and the other is data. And we use it to identify upstream defects within Amazon and address root causes there, so that avoids the contact. This improves the customer experience and also eliminates downstream costs. Next, if we can't eliminate the defect, we reduce customer effort through self-service technology solutions, where customers can engage with at their own pace and their own schedule. The customer can come back and pick up wherever they left off in one of our experiences. Now, lastly, when we have not succeeded on the first two dimensions, or when customers choose to speak to a human, we connect them with customer service associates equipped with skills and the tools to provide world-class customer service support. This approach allows us to bring the best customer service experience possible. First, by eliminating defects. Next, if we can eliminate a defect, to allow them to self-service through automation. And lastly, if they prefer, or if they need to, they can speak with their associates and can resolve their issues. As Lauren mentioned, customers are our mission, and customer obsession is our leadership principle that guides us along the way. Let's take a look at a couple of examples of what typical customer service, customer journeys will look like in our world. Now, we're really excited because yesterday during the keynote, Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon, covered practical ways of applying AI at Amazon. And one of the spotlights was customer service. So what we've been working on, which we'll talk about in this talk, is how we use our traditional approaches of customer service and how we've been investing in generative AI to bring rich self-service experiences to our customers and also to our associates. So what you see here is our natural language conversational chatbot that we launched in the US this year that allows customers to interact freely with our self-service and can adapt as the customer goes through to find the best possible resolution for them. All right, now to see this chatbot in action through a customer journey, meet Diego. Diego is an Amazon customer who's excited as smart light bulbs have arrived because he's going to use it for his home automation project. Diego received his light bulbs the next day as part of his Prime benefits and discovered it's the wrong size. So this can happen for various reasons. He may have ordered the wrong size, the product description on the page might have been inaccurate, or in exceptional cases, he may have received something that he didn't order. Either way, Diego needs help. Diego first tries to resolve the issue using self-service. So let's look at his journey through the self-service. When Diego uses the Amazon app to ingress into customer service, he immediately sees his light bulbs in a list he can pick from. At this point, we have multiple options for Diego to resolve the issue. he can go through guided workflows, or in this case, he chooses to go through our AI-powered CS chatbot. The conversational chatbot navigates Diego through a couple of things. One of them is to understand his intent. So why did he contact us in the first place? Next, it offers resolutions he's eligible for. This includes a return process where Diego chooses his preferred drop-off location, the payment type he would like his refund credited to, and at the end, what's really cool is the chatbot will ask Diego a question about his light bulbs in case there is a customer anecdote we can use to eliminate a systemic defect. So what's happening behind the scenes? So behind the scenes, the CS chatbot is checking if the item is eligible for return or replacement or something else. It's looking at Diego's preferred return locations and methods. And it's also pinpointing locations closest to him to offer to him. And with generative AI, something else that we can do now we couldn't do before is if the intent changes. So somewhere along the line, Diego doesn't want to return the item, but wants to do something different. Through generative AI, we can listen to the intent at every single turn and change to a different resolution path instead of bringing him back to the top of the flow into a set of static decision trees. So in this case, Diego chooses to return the order and selects Whole Foods as his drop-off location because it's the most convenient option for him. And overall, we feel like this is a pretty convenient and delightful experience through self-service. Let's look at another different customer journey that we may typically face at Amazon. Meet Shirley. Shirley's excited about her new Amazon Echo Show. She's planning to use it in the kitchen to listen to music and look up recipes. When she tried using the device, however, she discovered there was something wrong with the speakers, and the Echo Show was stuck at low volume, and she couldn't adjust the volume to be higher. So what does Shirley do? Very typically, Shirley would first go through some help articles, right? So self-help to troubleshoot her own issue. She went through self-help, and unfortunately, the volume is still so quiet. She couldn't find the resolution to her problem. So she decides, well, why don't I go to this new chatbot that's been launched and try there? So she goes to the chatbot. The chatbot quickly identifies that Shirley's issue isn't able to be solved in the chatbot itself. It didn't have the proper resolvers. So it offers the ability to connect to one of our technical specialists. So then CS chatbot transfers Shirley to a technical specialist, Sophia. So what's happening behind the scenes? Behind the scenes, we do something very similar. It's gathering the intent of what Shirley's contacting CS about, but something else different. We're preserving context all the way throughout. So we know that Shirley went through self-help. We know that she tried to troubleshoot her Echo, and it was due to volume. And she ingressed into a chatbot, and we know the chatbot couldn't be able to solve that issue within the chatbot. And we carry the context all the way through to Sophia, the associate, in this case. This allows us, being able to carry the context to our specialist, allows us to eliminate one of the most frustrating things for customers, which is customers have to re-explain themselves every single time they talk to a person, whether it's the first person they talk to, the second, or the third. So we can eliminate that altogether. All right, so continue on the path. Shirley reaches Sophia. Sophia quickly, using the tools in front of her, identifies this is a product defect. So we actually can't resolve this using the set of tools we have available to us. So she quickly orders Shirley a replacement and sets her up to return the defective item, so solving the issue for Shirley. Now, earlier I talked about, remember, we aim to remove the defect from Amazon so we don't have to get the contact in the first place. And then we go through our self-service and talking to associate. Well, our first objective is to help customers resolve their issues. But eliminating this defect is really important. For example, if Shirley just went ahead and returned the product itself, we may not have identified it was defective. So we couldn't take the customer anecdote or the data we gather to send it to the Echo team in this instance to troubleshoot why the volume is stuck at low volume. Worse, Shirley may not have ordered a replacement at all, losing trust in the product itself. So it goes back to what Lauren talked about earlier, where if you don't have, I'll extend what she talked about. It's not you just don't have self-service resolutions. If you can't resolve the customer issue and you don't know the defect, you may have lose trust in your product and your brand. So getting context like this from customers is really valuable to us because it allows us to identify defects faster, we can uncover root cause, and prevent that defect from ever happening again. This approach does help customers retain trust in Amazon products, and most importantly, allows customer service to act on behalf of the entire organization as the voice of the customer for all the products and services that we support. Next, I'm going to invite Jeff Christensen to come up and talk a little bit about how Amazon Customer Service uses Connect.
All right. Hey, I'm Jeff Christensen, and I've been with Amazon for 13 years as the Senior Manager of Software Development in the Customer Service Organization. And my team develops solutions using AWS services, including Amazon Connect. John walked us through some of the customer experiences we aim to delight customers with, and powering many of these experiences and many more is Amazon Connect. For customer service, we have several requirements for our contact center infrastructure, but they can broadly be categorized across 3 dimensions: scale, flexibility, and quality. We already talked briefly about Amazon's global scale, but meeting our diverse and growing customer base requires a worldwide telephony strategy. Amazon Connect manages a network of telephony providers around the world, removing the need for us to manage multiple vendors, negotiate complex multi-year contracts, or commit to peak call volumes. The telephony service includes direct dial and toll-free numbers for over 20 countries worldwide and over 200 available outbound calling destinations. With the Amazon Connect managed network, we're able to focus on improving customer experiences, like expanding into new regions and using in-country caller ID that customers might be more familiar with and likely to answer the contact. And we don't have to spend time in complex vendor management and contractual work required on the back end. When we think about flexibility, we need a system that can be customized, meeting our complex and diverse business needs. As Amazon expands into new lines of business, we're able to use Connect's API functionality to tailor the customer experiences we offer. And one of the areas this flexibility is particularly important is how a contact moves through customer service. We use Amazon Connect contact flows to create nearly any kind of experience and easily replicate and adjust as our business needs grow and evolve. For example, we can customize prompts, we can integrate our CS chatbot, and optimize our queue-based routing logic, all tailored to meet specific needs. Lastly, we need a system that's reliable and offers the highest quality. I'm sure many of you have had a customer service experience with a business at some point where you lose the connection and you have to start over. It's super frustrating. We're imagining and realizing a world where we never drop a contact again, and every contact has the highest possible quality connection. Realizing this requires extensive work across systems, and Amazon Connect provides many of the quality signals like packet loss, jitter, and round trip time that are used in improving the overall quality and reliability for customers. Diving deeper, Amazon Connect serves as a tailwind of technology for customer service, letting us invent and iterate faster. Let's look into a couple examples. John talked about the CS chatbot, and the CS chatbot's a critical component about how we meet our customers where they are to help them solve the issue they're facing. And as John mentioned earlier, it's now powered by generative AI in the US for customers. Amazon Connect provides the hooks and infrastructure for our chatbot to connect with the customers for both voice and chat contacts. And these integrations all happen within the Amazon Connect contact flow. And the end result is we're able to serve a growing number of customers with generative AI solutions, solving more customer issues faster. Customer service also leverages data to improve experiences and drive efficiencies for customers. You can imagine things like customer profile data, recent interactions, the signals gathered while interacting with the CS chatbot, as well as real-time event streams. We're able to gather and use these signals to improve customer experiences. One of the areas is the time and effort customers go through during the contact flow experience. With hundreds of thousands of unique branching logic, we're able to use the real-time data to optimize the connection experience, ultimately reducing the time and effort customers spend in the contact flow and accelerating getting them the help they need. We're also able to build safeguards in this experience, ensuring customers are not ending up in a dead-end queue, which is a queue where we have no associates staffed, or a contact flow loop where we're continually looping them in a contact flow and we never get them to an associate, or worse, getting disconnected. When customers prefer to talk with an associate, or our self-service and automated solutions are unable to solve their issue, we're able to leverage the rich context generated and optimize our contact routing. Having the customer context preserved in the bot to associate handoff, so customers don't have to re-explain themselves, and routing customers to skilled associates that are able to resolve the issue creates a delightful experience. And when we're able to resolve the contact on the first contact, we're also able to create positive associate and business outcomes as well. With Amazon Connect, we get a real-time stream of the contact transcript, letting us take action faster than ever before. Real-time contact transcription allows us to refine the intent of the customer if it changes through the conversation, and we can offer the best possible resolutions. We can do this across all the languages that Amazon Connect offers to better serve customers worldwide. And all of these processes and flows are connected. And we're able to create a feedback loop in our systems that's able to continually improve, tracking things like, did we capture the right intent of the customer and correctly route them to the right queue? Or did we provide the associate with the right resources to solve the issue? And we're able to trace back all of this context generated and the overall customer outcome and improve over time. So tons of awesome benefits from the technology standpoint from Amazon Connect. And I'll pass things back off to Lauren, who's going to take us through a fireside chat with John and myself.
All right, thank you guys both so much for that. I want to start off with you, Jeff. So you just talked a whole lot about Connect and the technology. How is customer service measuring the success of Connect?
So Amazon customer service has hundreds of metrics that we look at to measure success and improve the customer experience. But I'll focus on a few of the dimensions, maybe closer to Connect itself. Some of them, for example, we just talked about contact quality, which is a huge one for us. And we want to ensure every contact has the highest possible connection. And so we evaluate all the call quality metrics, things like latency and drops, as well as the ones we previously talked about. We also really dive into the customer experience aspect of this, which is like things like abandons, right? We also want our engineers themselves to be able to deploy Connect. So we look at the effort it takes to manage our Connect instances, and we improve upon that as well. And we want Connect to have the highest level of availability and scalability, especially with telecom partners, and Connect's done a great job with that regard.
Great, so John, we've talked briefly about the CS chatbot. What are some other opportunities with generative AI that you see for customer service?
Yeah, I think all of you, when first generative AI came on the scene, or large language models, you may have been rung up by your executives or your leaders and said, hey, this is a great use case for customer service. What are we going to do about it, right? I think this is one of the areas by which we can apply generative AI in many dimensions for customers, for our associates, and even for our builders, our developers that will learn this skill and be able to deploy it. The working backward for the customers, what do we want to do? First, we want to remove frustrations from the customer. So what generative AI allows us to do is, in self-service, you can understand their intent. And I mentioned earlier, you can understand when intent changes. Like, that is game changing. So through our, many of you like us have built many static workflows, decision trees, whether it's an IVR, whether it's through self-service, whether it's through playbooks for your associates. They essentially go down a series of yes, no, if, maybe decision points, and they make decisions along the way in order to help the customer. With generative AI, essentially generative AI can listen at every single turn and be able to understand intent, understand when intent changes, understand when customers are frustrated, and even this helps them in the associate experience. So if you think about bringing generative AI, not just for self-service, maybe the most powerful area is, how do you bring generative AI in front of your associates in a way that helps them not only be more efficient or productive in their job, ultimately what you want to do is you want to give time back to the associate to spend more time with the customer, right? You want them to really make that connection with the customer, to be empathetic and be able to help that customer. So what can you do within that realm? I think with generative AI, you can leverage large language models' most powerful thing, which is summarization. So you can be able to summarize corpus of knowledge, or using contact lens summarize real-time transcripts so that you prevent the frustration of customers having to explain themselves, but also you help the associates lower their cognitive load. Lastly, I think using generative AI, there's one area where I hope all of you are kind of starting to experiment into, or something that you're thinking about, which is, in our world, we collect a lot of data. We know a lot about the customer. We know a lot about their frustrations. And as I mentioned earlier, we may know a lot about their defects across the organization. And a lot of times, this data is put into data stores in a warehouse. And it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. You're creating all these joins of data, and you're trying to understand metrics, and you're trying to find customer anecdotes. And you're trying to find a way to amplify a signal in order to then go do something about it to help the customer experience, right? Using generative AI upon that data set makes finding a needle in the haystack much easier, makes correlations much easier. And there's a lot of suite of products within AWS or otherwise that you can use to start really treating your data as something very valuable to your organization, and to derive not only customer insights, but also to help your associates get better at their jobs. So for us, we're really bullish on using generative AI. We think there's a lot of practical application to it within customer service. And we're looking for every opportunity to apply it wherever we can.
Got it. So in addition and beyond Gen AI, what are some other emerging trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, it's tough these days not to just talk about Gen AI, so thank you for Lauren for that question, to get a chance to talk about something else. Something we really were surprised and delighted about is we started noticing that customers don't really want to just go to customer service to get help all the time. They're looking for customer support anywhere. So whether it's through a search engine, whether it's through some of the pages or experiences you offer to customers that are quote unquote upstream of you, customers just have issues wherever they are. So they want customer service support there. Now, over time, many of us perhaps have really trying to optimize the customer service experience. And what we do is we create all these workflows that embed the customer experience. And again, we lead them down decision trees because we feel like if they go down decision tree, we find intent. And then we're able to match 100% of the time the resolvers that are able to resolve the issue, right? So, but what does that do? It means that in some ways, we're bearing customer service and really that experience far down in their journey with you, versus thinking, how can we bring that experience further upstream? And one of the more important things is, if you're deploying self-service, we have a concept of escape hatch. So escape hatch is when the customer is frustrated, or they loop, or they prefer it, they should be able to talk to an associate. They shouldn't get stuck anywhere in your voice experience or your chat experience or your guided workflow experience, or any of your experiences. So before, when we were using static decision trees, we would predict or know, at this point, we should offer escape hatch. At this point, we should offer escape hatch. At this point, we should offer escape hatch. Well, what's up happening is, if you have so many trees that are branching, at some point, you kind of lose track of where the customer is, and maybe you're not offering at the right time. Maybe it's not even offered at all, and you're looping. So if generative AI, in particular, what I see now is, if you were to bring your experience somewhere through your ecosystem, the emerging trend is meet the work customer where they are. If they want help, they get help. If they want to talk to an associate, they can talk to an associate. So really then you broaden your view on bringing this idea of customer services everywhere, not just within customer service. But in order to succeed in that, you need to do a couple of things. And one is you need to partner across the organization. We found that very delightful and challenging at the same time. Right? You have to work across stakeholders that we think, oh, at this point, we can offer a delightful customer experience. Why don't we work to see if we can put customer service there? The other is, if you're deploying LLMs, the danger of essentially federating your customer experience upstream is, what if LLMs hallucinate? What if all of a sudden they decide that there's a policy that should exist and is very definitive against that, but it's counter to everything else that is within your experience? So you have to work very closely to make sure we have the proper guardrails that's grounded in truth and knowledge and policy, and that as we bring our customer experience further upstream and into the organization, that we're very consistent is how we bring that customer experience and actually explain policy and procedures within that workflow.
Awesome, thank you for that. So now I'm gonna put myself in the position of customer looking for customer support, right? And sometimes it's hard to keep up with changes the different companies wanna make inside of their own flows and with the technology. And it's just easier for me to just press 0, for any customer to just press 0 and say just let me talk to somebody already. So how are you thinking about customer adoption of new routes for customer support?
Yeah, customers are really savvy, but at the same time, they're really consistent, aren't they? And over time, I think all of us collectively may have trained customers to want to push 0 or say agent or associate. And if you work backwards from the customer, why are they doing that? Well, one of them is the self-service solutions just aren't good enough. If they go down and they get frustrated and they spend time and they spend more time, they just want to talk to a human and get it resolved. So it just isn't good enough. So one of the things that we think about is, before we launch a self-service experience, do we have the proper resolvers? Can we understand issues? Are we able to detect frustration and resolve that? And before we launch or go put it in front of customers, we want to make sure we're solid in that respect, right? The other is something to really also think about is, why are they going to a human? The human is able to, one, be empathetic to them and to relate to them. Well, can we do that within a self-service experience? And what does that look like? Well, it looks like something that is frustration-free, that is delightful, that's convenient, that's intuitive. So we focus a lot of time on the user experience itself to make sure that every single opportunity we have with the customer is informative and allows them to essentially make decisions along the way, right? Now, another thing we think about is, okay, once they get to associate, can the associate be a differentiator versus self-service, or are they doing the exact same thing? So if they're doing the exact same thing, I think it's worth deep diving into is understand why customers are having that behavior to go through, and they end up in the same place. So what can we do to essentially help them earn trust in self-service so that next time they train themselves to go back to that over and over again when they have the same issue? But if they do get to the associate, we want to make sure that the associate can handle the corpus of issues that we have within our organization and can resolve it for the customer. So in this case, for me at least, bring intuitive design to customers where it's delightful and they really want to use it should be the objective of organizations. And then if they do talk to an associate, don't shy away from that. Also help them through their path. But again, I'm going to loop back to try to understand the defect of that contact and then see if we can eliminate that defect upstream so that the next customer and the next 100 customers never have to contact customer service again.
Got it. I really love that idea of defect elimination, but also kind of matching it with the meeting customers where they are, right? Not trying to force them into a certain mode or method of getting customer support, really leaving it up to them.
Yeah, and something we see is traditionally the channels are very siloed. You might have a voice channel, you might have an email channel, you might have a chat channel, you might have a social channel. And then we also see that self-service and human-assisted support is also siloed. So maybe you have different experiences there. And what we're really thinking about is, well, that's your organizational boundary, and that's how you set up your teams and how you set up your tech stack. Customers don't really care, right? They want to contact us through multimodal, multi-channel, at their leisure, and how they want. So why not meet them there and figure out what the best possible experience is, and then work backwards from that customer to build the technologies that will be able to deliver that.
Great, very customer-centric of you,
Yeah.
bringing it all back. Okay, now I'm going to change course a little bit and ask you guys to be a little vocally self-critical. What's something that you guys have tried and maybe were really excited about and it just didn't work out?
Yeah, so over the years, we've tried a lot of things that didn't work out well the first time. I'll talk about a couple probably with the group. So one of the things we talked about earlier was Amazon Customer Services global scale. And the global scale really results in having multiple Connect instances. And when we first started, we were manually configuring all of these Connect instances. And there were really two manual configurations that I guess turned into the learnings. The first was really the Connect instance itself. And then the second was within the contact flows that we previously talked about. And so within the Connect instance itself, over time, we've been able to refactor the Connect instance to be via CDK, which has really enabled us to streamline our ability to deploy and manage our instances. The second area is the contact flows. And if some of you have migrated to Connect or are using Connect, you may have also realized that manually configuring contact flows becomes really difficult over time. And a small human error can result in an outage. And as we talked about, we've got over 100,000 different branching logics within the flows. And so we've been able to pivot to managing those contact flows with a software development lifecycle. And it's reduced the human error and helped speeds up our ability to deploy changes when we need them. And maybe a second big learning, this one's more migration related, which is as we've migrated from our legacy contact center infrastructure system onto Amazon Connect, we had a lot of learnings along that process. But one of them that I'll talk about is really to incubate with more contact volume. So when we first started down the journey, we were doing a lot of software development, trying to build all of the use cases, and ultimately leading up to sort of like a waterfall type launch. We spent years building all the features we needed, and we got to a point and we thought we had them all. And so we did our manual or sort of automated testing or manual testing of all the use cases we thought we had, and we started to dial up volume between like 1% and 10%, thinking we had things covered. And we missed a lot of things, right? And so the incubation percentage wasn't enough contact volume. And so the learning was really incubating at a higher percentage and making sure we've tested and built across every single one of Amazon Customer Services, business units, use cases, et cetera, so that when we did get to the point of deployment, we didn't have to roll back. Early on in our journey, we would get to a point where we would launch, but we'd have to roll back. And it's a really quick way to lose trust with all of our stakeholders when we have to roll back. And so being able to really learn from those mistakes early on helped set us up for success in our later years and able to actually fully migrate onto Amazon Connect.
Yeah, Jeff talked about migration learnings. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about, we try a whole lot of things at Amazon, and we're not afraid to fail fast. That's actually kind of our culture. So I'll talk maybe about a little more kind of technical implementation where we've tried and didn't work out as well. So we're, as Lawrence mentioned earlier, we're a culture of builders. And in addition to a culture of builders, we want autonomous teams to move incredibly fast. So that means they can pick their own technologies, they can implement them, they own their own code bases, they manage end to end, and they can bring rich experiences. Well, what does that do within customer service? If you encourage teams to move incredibly fast and they have autonomy, what they're going to do is remove dependencies upon each other and build perhaps technical stacks that result in fragmented customer experiences, right? So you have your your bot team, or let's say your chat team over here, your voice team over here, your infrastructure over here, your associated tools team over here. They're every kind of building according to their own kind of tech direction, if you will. Now, there's some governance that can be brought in order to make sure that there's common code bases. We use AWS, we use Amazon Connect, et cetera. But in the end, the customer experience might be very fragmented or jarring. So one of the learnings is, how can we enable autonomy, but also ensure that we have consistent customer experiences? And it's more important as you go to multi-channel and omni-channel in that case. So then now you can move and, for example, preserve context between channels. So from that perspective, we started really thinking about starting with the user experience first. So what's the user experience, the customer experience we want? Then we back into the technologies that we need to build in order to do that. So first you govern already in the user experience. Then you can then govern at the technology stack. And then you can then allow teams to move fast, but then they have the guardrails essentially to operate within the architecture itself. So that's one of the learnings that we've had. Rather than just essentially having a monolith at the end of the day and every team build on the same thing. This allows us kind of a federated approach while bringing a common customer experience. The other, maybe I'll use a generative AI learning, which is the importance of guardrails within customer service. So within customer service, what's the one of the top things that we kind of really want to avoid, right? We want to avoid making a false promise to our customers, being able to essentially one of our associates that would go off script, if you will, right? That you don't give the fullness of the customer experience that you want to give. And through generative AI, we all know that LLMs hallucinate. And they hallucinate quite a bit. So early on, we decided that we needed to guardrail our experience. So we use a variety of techniques, but something that I encourage all of you to do too is make sure that you have the proper guardrails in place before you deploy generative AI. Don't just think of it as an afterthought and bolt it on afterwards, but think of it as part of the core design from the very beginning and where it's most appropriate to place guardrails and what guardrails need to be in place in order to get the desired customer experience that you need, rather than something that you don't expect and are surprised by later on.
All right, great. And a plug there for our working backward process too. They're starting with the customer and working backward. All right, last question, and Jeff, this one's for you. How have you been working with the Amazon Connect team?
Yeah, great question. So as Lauren mentioned, I think the journey probably started all the way back in 2007 when Amazon customer service started building out the original or sort of the predecessor to Amazon Connect. And over the years, we worked really closely with Amazon Connect on the features that we think will benefit all Amazon Connect customers, similar to many of you. And to date, we've partnered on over 65 features, things like more granular access controls, being able to manage the contact flows programmatically, and even some of the contact quality things we talked about previously, like being able to measure packet loss and jitter and round trip time. And a lot of these features we start internally where Amazon customer service might be building them, and we're able to kind of like share our code base with the Amazon Connect team and hand features off. We also work really closely within the product feature request process of having joint roadmap reviews, seeing what each team is building, being able to work backwards, ensuring we're not duplicating features across our teams, and we're doing the right long-term investment for both Amazon as well as our respective organizations. And so we're constantly looking for ways to better leverage AWS and Amazon Connect offerings to remove duplicate tools and to be able to build on top of Connect to better integrate without our own internal tools.
Great, thank you guys so much for that. Kind of to play off what Jeff was just talking about and to kind of wrap us up a little bit, guys, is that the reality is Amazon's a customer of AWS and Connect, like many people here are, right? And like 95% of the new features that Amazon Connect has launched since we launched originally in 2017 have come direct from customer feedback and customer requests, right? So maybe to put it in perspective, when Amazon Connect launched in 2017, we provided global telephony, web-based agent application for handling contacts, and historical reporting and analytics. At the time, we were seen as a disruptor in the industry. Since then, we've launched more than 650 major features and are now seen as a leader in the industry. And just this week at re:Invent, we launched 14 new features inside of Amazon Connect, including Gen AI for self-service through Amazon Q and Connect. I just want to touch on really quickly that we recognize that customer experience transformation isn't just about technology, right? So at AWS, we offer professional services and amazing partners and some internal programs to really help with the end-to-end customer experience transformation. And for customers like you guys who want to learn more about the Amazon way of thinking and what Amazon's doing, we actually offer a Learning from Amazon program that really dives deeper into what are the mechanisms and processes that Amazon internally uses to make sure that as we grow and scale and innovate, we're staying true to this customer-centric mission. So before we wrap up, I just want to let everyone know that if you're still interested in learning more about Amazon Connect or customer experience, we do still have 2 more breakout sessions during re:Invent, 1 today and 1 tomorrow. And we actually have 5 more chalk talks. So if anyone wants to kind of get their hands dirty and start building, there's opportunity to do that too. And in the spirit of customer centricity, let us know what you thought of our session today. Please fill out the survey, give us some feedback. So on behalf of Jeff, John, and myself, thank you all for letting us be a part of your re:Invent experience. We will stick around for a little bit, and please connect with us all on LinkedIn and ask any questions that you didn't have time for today. Thank you all. Happy reinventing.